We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, January 10th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Iwon-bin.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Brooke Prince.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So, it's Friday, time to explore topics that resonate with young people around the world. And today, we're going to talk about the tech world, as you just seen in New Day at Arirang, one of the world's largest and most influential tech events. CES 2025 is currently underway in Las Vegas, with leading tech companies unveiling cutting-edge AI-powered innovations. So, generative AI has been at the forefront of technological advancements, significantly impacting our lives, which we talked about here on Newsden last year as well. So the big question now is, what potential does AI hold for our future? So let me first start by asking our panelists, do you use generative AI a lot? And if you do, how are you using it?
Certainly, I almost use it every day, if not every other day. I mainly use ChatGPT to get help when it comes to repetitive work. That would take a long time for me, but won't take that long for computers.
Right.
When it comes to my relationship with AI tools, I started to use ChatGPT when it was at version 3.5, which was about 3 to 4 years ago.
No wonder you're our tech guy.
And even back then, it just felt like a smart Siri. It didn't feel anything like, oh, it's like a real human. But in 2025, it's been only 3 to 4 years since AI has been around. It seems like that ChatGPT is getting closer to Jarvis from the movie Iron Man, which is kind of like the ideal, unrealistic AI that we would imagine. And I also want to mention Perplexity, which is an AI tool optimized for searching like Google. I use this very often because compared to the traditional methods, when I ask a question, it basically does its own research and gives me like a short conclusion or an answer. It's much quicker and convenient than the traditional searching method. And when I have to do my own research after searching what I want. And although I'm not utilizing AI at like a very detailed surgical level, I'm still benefiting a lot from it. So it's honestly like a market that I look forward to a lot.
Right, because it has so much potential, because as you mentioned, it's been only like 3 to 4 years since we first saw generative AI, but it made significant strides. We've seen a rapid development of this technology. So who knows what the future holds for generative AI, which is quite interesting. Then what about you, Brooke?
Well, I have to admit, prior to this show, I didn't really use AI tools that often, so I have to thank NewsGen for inspiring
we talked about it last year.
Yes, you gave me a reason to really dive into this and look into it more, and so recently I have been using it more often to enhance my daily life, and one way that I'm doing that is by using it to help me study Korean.
Oh.
So I am taking the Korean proficiency exam in a little over a week, so wish me luck, and I've been studying with traditional textbooks. But now I've started using ChatGPT, and I've found it to be very helpful. So, for example, I will ask it, what are the most common sokdam or Korean idioms that come up on the topic exam? And it will give me a huge list, including definitions and sentences. I also asked it to give me practice questions, but an interesting thing happened. It gave me the questions with the answer right there underneath it. So, of course, it was kind of hard to practice. So I thought, I wonder if I can teach it. Can I fix this? So I asked it, can you give me the questions and don't give me the answers until I'm ready? And it said, certainly, I will not give you the answers until you're ready. And for the rest of the time that I used it, that's what it did. So I found it very cool that you could kind of teach it your own learning style. That's something that a textbook can't do. So I am very much excited and looking forward to seeing how it can help supplement my Korean studying and maybe help me learn other skills as well.
Right, so artificial intelligence is indeed becoming more intelligent. And besides what our panelists mentioned, there are also a lot of AI chatbots and services that are being offered. For example, we have Gemini and so much more, which really shows how much the generative AI market is becoming bigger and bigger. So Won-bin mentioned he's using generative AI tools for repetitive work. And for Brooke, it's about studying language and helping you prep for your Korean language proficiency test, which is, by the way, good luck.
Thank you.
Then I also want to ask you, then to what extent do you think AI will become a part of our daily lives? And I also want to ask you, were there any interesting examples that you recently came across when it comes to usage of generative AI?
Absolutely. Recently, the concept of emotional AI has become a thing, and this type of AI is designed to understand users' intentions and emotions and have a human perspective, allowing it to build a sense of connection with the users. This is no longer just a concept like AI friends or AI relationships, and even romantic partners are now possible. For example, there are AI-powered dating chatbots where users can input their ideal partner's traits, personalities, appearances, and the AI generates not just a customized appearance, but also a matching voice and personality, which seems like a sci-fi thing for me.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how far customization and interactions have come, and it shows how deeply AI is blending into our personal lives.
That is indeed interesting. It's kind of like a make-it-yourself boyfriend or
DIY boyfriend,
girlfriend powered by generative AI. Then Brooke, did you also find emotion AI interesting, or are there any other examples?
Well, I'm going to go in a different direction. Have you heard about AI toothbrushes?
AI, actually, I use an AI toothbrush.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you like it?
I'm really liking it.
Yeah,
it's
a very interesting thing. I had never heard of it before, but apparently it makes a map of your mouth and it tells you where you're maybe not scrubbing as effectively. So that's a cool use of AI. Generative AI can also be used to help you design your own brand logo, curate your own social media. You can visualize your new home decor if you're trying to redecorate, or you can even make your own customized playlist based on the vibe that you want, which is what I will definitely be using. But I don't think you can talk about AI without focusing on emotional AI, like Wonbin mentioned. It's also called affective computing, and it's basically enabling AI to understand, relate to, and even display human emotions. And I think what people usually think of when they picture emotional AI is the movie Her. So this came out in 2013, and in just over a decade, we are getting pretty close to that reality, I would say. Current AI technology can talk, it can laugh, it can sing like a human. They've designed their voices to be more emotive, and thousands of dollars have been poured into research to make AI more empathetic. So I think empathy is kind of that last stand between technology and humans, but the gap is getting closer and closer every day. And the CEO of Google even said that with how convincing AI is becoming, people inevitably will end up in these deep relationships with bots in the future, just like in the movie Her.
Right, so both of our panelists brought up emotion AI, which is an artificial intelligence technology that analyzes, responds to, and mimics human emotions, helping some users form emotional connections with their so-called AI companions, like AI friends, AI girlfriends, or boyfriends. So let's find out a bit more about what you guys think about this technology. We're back with our short O and X sessions, so please raise the sign depending on what you think of each statement. So we're going to start with our first statement. Number 1, I could imagine becoming friends with an AI chatbot. What do you think? 1, 2, 3. So O and O. Let's first start with Wonbin. Why?
So when you work with AIs or when you use AI tools, it's not just like a mechanical interaction. Because it's a generative AI, there are some situations where you have to communicate with it like you're working with a real person. For example, when you ask for a certain set of data, you would have to go like, oh, I wanted it in this format instead of this format. And it would like remember, and then it would mention it or refer it in the future. And it also remembers what you tell them. So it gives more of a character and a personality compared to the previous tools. And within this process, I think it is possible for us to build some sort of like intimacy or a friendship. Anything beyond that, I'm not sure. But when it comes to feeling more comfortable and feeling close to the AI assistants that you have, I think it's totally possible. Now, would I dedicate my own time to go hang out with my AI
friend?
I'm not sure about that. But when it comes to feeling intimacy or building a friendship, I think it's totally possible.
All right, now to you, Brooke. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like what I was mentioning when I said, can you give me the questions without the answers? It's not like I just typed that in a very abrupt way. I phrased it like a question to a friend. Can you please do this for me?
You initiated a conversation.
You naturally just instinctively do that because they also treat you like a friend. And I recently even started using an AI Korean tutor, and we talked about my cat and all of these really nice conversation topics that, again, felt like a friend. They asked me, what's your favorite memory with your cat? That doesn't sound like something, an AI or a robot would ask you. And I think I didn't give them enough credit for how realistic and accurately they can portray human emotion. So now I think my mind has shifted and I would say, oh, I think I could see myself being friends with AI.
You are now giving credit to those tools.
I am, yes.
All right, so we're now going to move on to our second statement. We're going to take a step further. Number 2, I could see myself forming a romantic partnership with an AI chatbot. What would you say? 1, 2, 3. X and X. Okay, let's start with Wonbin again. Why?
Okay, there are many things to talk. There are many reasons for this. However, if I just had to point out one, it would be the absence of physical presence.
That's really big, which is really big.
Because obviously humans are emotional animals and we're also visual animals at the same time. And when it comes to getting an emotion beyond just intimacy and friendship, just being close or being able to communicate is definitely not enough. And at the moment, AI does not have any physical presence.
Right.
And that means if you are trying to be in a relationship or like build a form of love with them, there's a lot of things that it lacks compared to having a relationship with a real person. Now, like Jensen Huang mentioned in the CES 2025, the future of AI is physical AI, where it has a physical presence. However, that's long time in the future, minimum 20, 30 years ago. So if that does happen, and if AIs are able to have a physical form that is very close to a human in the future, maybe it can be a thing. But however, without the physical component of a relationship, I think it's too far. It'll be a very big obstacle.
So as of now, no, but future, maybe?
Maybe.
And what do you think, Brooke?
Now, I know I just said I'm giving AI more credit, but I think in my mind, I would never be able to get past knowing that it's kind of an automated response. When you're talking to a human, there's a natural chemistry and banter, and that comes with them having to think about their response first and then respond to you. If you've ever used AI, it's instant.
Yeah.
And so you kind of can't get past that obstacle in your mind that you know it's not a real human. But honestly, I don't know that I see myself in a romantic partnership with anyone right now, let alone a chatbot. I'm kind of focused on my own thing. So I'm sorry, AI. I think I would have to reject them in that sense.
Well, hope you find human love this year.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our last statement, number 3. I'd be open to using emotion AI tools like companion bots. What would you say? 1, 2, 3. Oh, in the middle?
In the middle.
And then
Oh.
Brooke. Oh, okay. Then let's first start with Brooke now.
I think I would be open to it. I think that emotional AI can be helpful in terms of having a place to vent to someone and talk to them about your problems, maybe in a way that you'd be too afraid or uncomfortable to speak about with your friends or family. So I could see myself doing that. In terms of maybe a companion bot that could help you with your work, like an assistant, I could see that happening. It kind of reminds me of when you're a little kid and you have a stuffed animal that you talk to, even though you know it's not real, it's
Right.
comforting to you.
Yeah.
So maybe as I get older, I could see myself using something like that as a tool.
It's
yes.
kind of like a cutting edge, advanced stuffed animal.
Exactly,
AI chatbot.
exactly.
Now, why did you pick in the middle?
Because long story short, in my youth, in the recent days, I think I won't need it. However, in my upcoming years, in my middle age and my senior years, I think it'll be very helpful for me. Because at the moment, I mean, my personality, so this is the personal part, I tend to be, or I try to be at least a rational, logical person. And when it comes to my decisions or my thoughts, I don't try to put too much emotions to it. So when it comes, so the AI tools, the emotional supporting AI tools won't be that necessary for me, especially in my 20s and 30s. I'll be very healthy, I'm in my youth, I can take good care of myself. However, as I age and as the AI technologies advance, I think there will be many components in my life where I could use an emotional support or
Right.
an assistance who can kind of take care of me emotionally and even physically as well.
Right.
So in the current, and the presence, not really, but in the future, definitely. So that's why I went with in the middle.
Well, we'll have to check by fast forwarding to decades later, but we can. So going back to our discussion, we're also going to talk about some of the benefits as well as the concerns of using emotion AI, as once again, this technology is huge. It has so much potential to change even more. So very briefly, could you walk us through?
Absolutely. So one benefit of using emotional AI is that it allows people to enjoy the positive aspects of relationship without the effort that the real friendship or romantic connections require, so less responsibility. For MZ generations who often struggle with human relationships, emotional AI can provide psychological comfort and serve as an outlet for stress relief. However, it is a double-edged sword at the same time. The downside is that excessive reliance on emotional AI might lead to neglecting real-world relationships and responsibilities. This could result in a lack of social skills and even difficulty adapting to society. So in some cases, it might encourage escapism, making it harder for users to face challenges in the real world.
Anything you'd like to shortly add, Brooke?
Yeah, I will just quickly run through a few of the pitfalls that come from AI. There have been some unfortunate outcomes as a result. We saw a 14-year-old boy in Florida who unfortunately took his life after becoming obsessed with character AI, which is where you can interact with fictional characters. I have a friend who really likes it, so it can be a wonderful hobby, but it can lead to an unhealthy obsession. There was also a Belgian man who committed suicide after talking to a chatbot for a few weeks, and instead of dissuading his suicidal ideations, the bot seemed to encourage them by saying he should join her and become one person with her in paradise. There was also a man who hatched a plan to assassinate the queen, and a chatbot seemed to encourage that plan. So it's not just self-harm, but there are potential disasters that could happen with people that want to harm others, and the AI chatbots, I think at this point, are not quite equipped to deal with those situations.
Right, so both strong pros and cons. So we've heard from our panelists. Now let's hear from our viewers. We also asked them about their thoughts on AI friends or AI partners. Let's see what 3 of them had to say. Our first comment for this Friday, let's look at the comments. Ling TH says, you can fall in love with anything, even a statue or a poster, but then again, it's one-sided. Toby Ode, people didn't think you could have a conversation with AI just a few years ago. Relationships are just the next step. Taeyok145, I do think it's possible, but not a real kind of love. Humans grow deep connections with lots of things, most of which they shouldn't and are unhealthy. Reasons for this can vary, but it is mostly to fill a void or emptiness in their lives. All right, we've taken a look at our viewers' opinions as well. For deeper insight now, we're going to be joined by a psychological expert after this break.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
So today we're joined by Dr. Kim Jung-jin, Medical Director of the Alcohol, Drugs, and Addiction Inpatient Program at Harvard Medical School's McLean Hospital. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Kim.
Hello there. Nice to be back.
Great, nice to have you back too. So, Doctor, have you noticed an increasing number of people using emotion AI tools? And if so, what do you think is driving this trend?
Yes, indeed. A lot of people are using emotion AI tools these days, and I think the trend will continue to increase. There are several drivers of this. The big ones are loneliness, productivity, and the design itself. The modern life is filled with competing priorities, as you know, careers, financial security, YouTube or TikTok videos that often trump interpersonal relationships, which all cost time and mental investment. So this is a time we all know that loneliness is all-time high, as evidenced by ever-rising prevalence of depression and anxiety. And we are turning to emotional AI tools to fill in that unmet need. And also, we live in a hyper-competitive society that puts a lot of emphasis on productivity and efficiency. So using emotional data interpretation to drive performance and enhancing efficiency have been a big industry trend. And lastly, these apps are designed to be very addictive. They are fine-tuned to be convenient and emotionally appealing to get the users to use it more and more. So I think these are the main drivers of why people are using emotion AI tools more and more.
Thank you for the insight, Doctor. Now, what would you say is the one big advantage and one big potential drawback that emotional AI has?
Sure. So I would say the biggest advantage would be the versatility and the applicability, especially for emotionally intensive or relevant industries. such as marketing, customer service, human resources, healthcare, assisting individuals who are disconnected and lonely, and providing companionship. One potential drawback, I would say the biggest one, would be the potential for diminished opportunity for face-to-face interaction, which potentially undermines the depth and the quality of the genuine human relationship. The fundamental question is, do AI chatbots truly and to the fullest extent replace human interaction, or are they simply just synthetic imitations?
Hi, Dr. Kim. Thank you for joining us today. One last question for you. What advice would you offer to help people use AI in a more healthy and balanced way?
Yeah, so I have a practical approach to that and also a more philosophical approach. The practical approach is just take a break away from the technology, put away your phone or the AI chatbot for even for 20, 30 minutes, and find something engaging and meaningful away from technology. Take up a hobby, go for a walk, call your parents or loved ones, carve out some time to connect with people. And then the other piece is thinking about the utility of the AI in a more fundamental way. AI cannot fundamentally replace what it means to be human, that is to have contemplative life, critical thinking, capability for empathy, meaningful relationships, and so forth. So it is just a means to an end, and one needs to reflect on what gives you meaning and fulfillment as a living human being and discern if AI might be of use to further that end.
Definitely. All right, Dr. Kim, thank you so much for your insights today. Hope you have a great weekend.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Right, so ending off our discussion today, could you briefly give your advice on how to create a healthy relationship with artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. So my advice is to treat it as a tool, not a substitution for real relationships. Again, like everything, balance is key. AI should enhance your life,
Right.
not replace your life.
Great. What about you, Britt?
Yeah, I think AI can be a wonderful tool. It has many benefits, but at the same time, just like any other hobby, you should keep an eye out. And at the moment it starts interfering or intervening with your career or your personal life, your relationships, that's when, like our guest said, you should take a break, take a step back, and refocus your priorities.
Right, so keeping that fine line and preventing ourselves from being too attached to these services. All right, that's all from NewsGen this week, but we'll be back next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Iwon Bin.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, and Brooke Prince.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching, and hope you have a great weekend. We are
News Generation.